now I'd love your calls on this one. Do you think it's time that we banned mobile phones in cafes? 0207 862 2222. That's the number. Do give us a ring. A cafe in Swansea has brought in what they're calling offline nights once a month, where mobile phones and laptops are banned. And this is to encourage customers to have more meaningful interactions. Helen Wilson is the owner of that cafe, which is called Ground Plant Based Coffee. And she joins me on the line. Helen, oh gosh, the cafe looks absolutely beautiful, Helen. Looks gorgeous there.
Thank you.
Oh, look, and
Thank
so
you
do
very
you. You
much.
look beautiful. The whole thing looks fabulous. So what gave you the idea for this, Helen?
So, increasingly, I see people coming into the cafe, and whereas perhaps, let's say, 15, 20 years ago, people might sort of sit and chat and read a newspaper, these days, everything just seems to be about people being on their phones all the time. And I like to do things differently in this cafe. I've always done things differently. And I like to look at what other cafes are doing, perhaps in London and in other cities. And I saw a similar event taking place in London. And there's some in Amsterdam where people were coming together in cafes and without any phones, without any laptops or tablets. And I thought that sounds like a really interesting idea. So I decided to give it a go, and we've had two so far, and I've got the next one coming up at the end of the month.
And tell me what people said when you suggested it. Did some people say, oh, my God, you wouldn't catch me going anywhere near. I can't move without my phone. I can't live without my laptop. Or did people go, oh, my God, this is what we want, an oasis of calm and possible conversation?
Oh, honestly, I can't tell you, Vanessa, how popular it's been. We're quite a small cafe here in Swansea. We can seat around, 24, 25 people. I had people queuing out of the door.
No
People have
way.
been nothing but enthusiastic. Almost, I feel people are sort of really craving an opportunity to do something different. And I think everyone is feeling a little bit sort of just overly attached to their phones, especially with all the different notifications that we all get these days. An event like this, and let me be clear, it's only 3 hours a month. We're not banning mobile phones all the time. It's just giving people this unique little sort of social opportunity to come and chat and get to know people they wouldn't have talked to otherwise, learn new skills. And honestly, it's been received so well.
So obviously what I want to know is, have you seen the first flickering signs of any romance sparking up? Because after all, you've got to make some eye contact. You've got to put the phone down. You've got to realise you fancy someone for any potential love affair to kind of flourish. So have you felt any flirtation in the air or anything like that?
Oh, definitely. You
Oh,
will notice
good.
that the atmosphere is different. If you come here on an offline night, there are people just chatting, having a really good laugh. I've definitely seen people making friends with people they might not have normally talked to. I don't know about any romance, but it's certainly the sort of environment that you would naturally be able to meet somebody. So we have shared tables, I have board games, crafts.
Oh, wow.
I make soup, drink coffee.
God, you make
And
soup?
honestly,
God,
it's
how
been
soon can we
really fun.
come? It sounds to me like absolute I mean, you might actually talk to someone might talk to you, you might make a friend, you might fall in love, you might have a bowl of soup. What more could you want from a cafe? My gosh. Do you think you might do it more often eventually?
I don't know. I would consider doing it every Friday night.
Right.
At the moment, we're doing one Friday a month. The next one is on March the 28th. But people have given me such good feedback. And I think people are looking for something different and a different way to spend their time. And I tell you what, if anyone wants to tell me that this is not good for business, I can tell you, sitting here, that it is. It's been brilliant for business. People think it's a wonderful idea.
Well, I think it's absolutely inspired, and it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me. What a delight, the wonderful Helen. Thank her so much for that. Don't go anywhere at home, because later on we're going to be talking about self-checkouts. Let's get straight into whether we should ban phones in cafes or not. Do get your calls in now. I'd love to hear from you on this one. Let's ask Wilfred what he thinks, because Helen was very positive about the outcome, wasn't she?
It's really interesting because I have farm shops, okay?
Yeah.
And that we have a cafe section, and the psychology of people when they come into a cafe is they expect to be able to use their phone and laptops. If you go into a fancy restaurant, you would be sort of thrown out because you're expected to be in a place of tranquility and calm. But I think the challenge is going to be that people expect that it's almost like an extension of their staff canteen, They expect to be able to do work there, not a place to go and relax. And I think that's where the issue is going to be.
Well, but she spelled out that this is an exceptional thing. It only happens at the moment once a month, that she might roll it out to once a week. And she said people are literally queuing at the door to get in.
That says it all, doesn't it? The fact that there are people queuing around the block says to me that we know we've got a problem with these things. My screen time some days is 8 or 9 hours.
Seriously?
What could I be doing with that
What are you doing
time?
for 8 or 9 hours?
Swiping through, scrolling through, tweeting this, posting that. It's terrible.
Want to get outside, mate,
I'm
honestly.
a complete addict, Vanessa, and
Wow.
so many of us are.
Gosh.
And the only way, frankly, and it's really sad to say this, but it's true, you're going to get me having a 3-hour dinner or a conversation without my phone is if like someone Helen forces me to do it.
And
So
could
good
you
on her,
imagine
I
feeling
say.
a bit awkward when you got there, or could you imagine plunging right in?
I would be almost physically twitching looking for my phone. I would be on edge, but then I think, the rewards are massive, aren't they? If you bite the bullet and you sort of make the break with the addiction, it's like anything, then there's a whole world out there. I think it's wonderful.
Well, let's talk to Amanda in London about this. Amanda, would it be a good idea to ban mobile phones from cafes?
Absolutely. And was it Ben who just spoke earlier? I totally agree. People come from work and they just love to go into a cafe, with a cup of coffee or tea with one of their colleagues, or they're having a meeting. However, there are other places you can go. Sit in the park with your colleague and absorb nature the same time that you're having your meeting. That may sound a bit stupid. Or take a meeting room. Hire a meeting room for that. But, going into a cafe, for someone like me, I don't like phone anyway, you just need that peace and quiet. And what I do miss is enjoying, or what we should be doing is taking in life around us, where we can appreciate life more, rather than just being on our phone, and we are so oblivious to what is going on. And I think this is why we don't appreciate a lot in the world now, because we are so oblivious to everything that is going on.
Amanda, have you been phone resistant? You haven't found yourself falling down that well where you're scrolling, and an hour later you stick your head up for breath thinking, oh God, what was I even looking at for that hour of my life, which I'll never get back? That's not you. You've managed not to do that.
I'm 59 years old, and, I've been years now having a mobile phone. However, no, and I constantly say, and every time I read the news or listen to the news, and there are so many children and adults who commit suicide from phones, I am more and more against it. And because I am clinically being diagnosed with depression, so I know exactly what it's like. Once you get on there, you can never come up. And no, my family can call me, even if I'm in the shopping area. My husband will call, why didn't you answer your phone, Mandy? No, I don't answer the phone when I'm out. I don't answer it when I'm home.
Gosh, one resolute individual with an obdurate determination to resist that addictive allure of the phone. I've got to commend you for doing it, Amanda. Thank you so much for calling. Let's talk to Suzanne in Hertfordshire. Hi, Suzanne. What about phones in cafes?
Hi, Vanessa.
Hiya.
I think they should be banned, not just in cafes, in pubs, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. I think they're hideous things.
And yet people are so drawn to them. People talk about an umbilical link. If you haven't got your phone, as Ben says, he's twitching and itching and looking around and feeling, disconnected from the world. And at any moment, Hollywood could be ringing with a role for him, a starring role in an A-list movie, and he might not take the call. He'd miss it, you see.
Hasn't happened yet, but yeah.
Yeah, any minute. It could happen.
You look at the mental health issues in the NHS hospitals. You look at the children that are on them constantly. They don't talk to their friends anymore. They talk through the phone. I think it's absolutely horrible. Myself, I'm out in nature most of the day. I love it. I walk round. I look in the forests. I walk my dogs. I have a great life. I don't need a mobile phone.
Do you have one, though?
I have one because my parents, they're elderly, and I might be needed. But I never answer my phone. If it rings, I'll look at it. And if it's not anything to do with my mum or dad, I don't answer it.
Wow. And the whole kind of being beguiled by somebody else's wedding breakfast or some croissant that some stranger has eaten in Berlin that morning. I find myself looking... You know what I look at? I watch someone who takes a chest of drawers out of a skip and kind of, you know, sands it and paints it. Why am I watching this? I've got no space for a chest of drawers. I don't need one. I don't want one. I'm never, ever going to do that myself. Suzanne, help me here. Help me out. Why am I watching this stuff? How do I do what you do and resist?
I'll tell you how to do it.
How?
Literally, put your phone on silent. Get yourself out in nature.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the best thing I ever done was walk for miles in nature, in forests, in fields, and look around you. Look at the countryside we have got. Look at what we have got.
That's a hell of a good answer.
Absolutely beautiful. And
Which bit of Hertfordshire are you in, Suzanne? So we can all come for lunch today and visit you and have a good walk.
St Albans.
Oh, well, that is a beautiful park. Gosh, I went to school just up the road in Elstree. We came to look at Verulamium, all those Roman remains in St Albans. We looked at them so much. I think there's only half of them left after we looked at them. Really good to talk to you. Let's go to Vicky in beautiful Norfolk. Now, that is a beautiful part of the country. Hey, Vicky, hi.
Hi.
Tell me about phones in cafes.
I actually agree with the last two callers.
Really?
There's no need for it. No need to be on your phones, even when you go out for a night out or concerts or at family events. Everyone nowadays is on their phones constantly looking for the perfect picture. They're not enjoying the socialising aspect. They're not taking in the music, taking in the environment and the people they're with and just being in those moments. Families is a fine one. You see so many people with their children out and about. The parents and some of the children are on their phones.
They're plugged into
They're
devices.
not actually concentrating and just enjoying making memories.
I mean, listen,
And,
the message is out loud and clear, isn't it? Vicky, thank you so much. And every caller saying exactly the same thing. You can see why Helen's phone-free nights are so extremely popular. Thank you so much for that. Now...